Hello bearded bee people, welcome back to B&K for another episode of Random Inspection Friday. Today is the 20th, I think, of August 2018, and I am moving the last of our nukes to 10-frame equipment. The last that are going into 10-frame equipment are going into that today. The ones that remain nukes will be probably put into winter as nukes or combined with another colony or another nuke before the end of the goldenrod flow. So the goldenrod flow has not quite started yet. The goldenrod that's blooming right now is one of the earlier varieties, and that's not the big nectar producer that we depend on here in the Midwest, but it won't be long, and I want these colonies to have the ability to store a good amount of that, otherwise I'd have to feed quite a lot. So I have freshly extracted frames cleaned out by the bees that I can use to fill out this box so that they have the space to place the goldenrod honey and the syrup that I will probably still inevitably have to feed afterward. But yeah, so this way they'll have less work to do. So let's get started. These are sitting out in the yard, and they will not stay here for winter. But I'm not going to move them just yet. I'm going to move them at night and try to retain all of the foragers that I can, because it's just a little nuke. And it is obviously not night right now, so I will not be moving it today. But I will move it eventually to a pallet with 3 other hives tucked around it for insulation. So, for that, I'm not moving it, so I'm placing the new equipment where the old equipment was, because as you see, these bees know this location and they will continue to return to this location until they orient to a new spot. So if I were to move this somewhere else at this point, there would be a ball of bees trying to figure out what to do later on tonight. They would probably eventually end up merging into other nearby colonies, but either way they would have been lost to the original colony, and I don't want that to happen. Okay. It's a pretty good looking nuke if I remember correctly, and that it is. Quite a lot of bees in here. Okay, so I am going to look for the queen, just to know in my own mind that I moved her. This frame is largely empty. There's a little nectar at the top, a couple cells of bee bread, no queen that I see. This is full of eggs and young larvae, so there's definitely a queen in this box, and I knew that. There's some capped brood. There's the cell cup that she emerged from at the end of July. It's a good pattern that I like to see. Oh man, I don't know if you could see all that. This is a good pattern that I like to see in my freshly mated queens. If this was earlier on in the year, this queen would be ready for sale. Some of you guys were wondering if I was requeening hives with untested queens, and that's definitely not the case. These are daughters of survivors, and they all lay good patterns, or I would not install them in any colony in my operation. And I also would not sell them to you. So no queen that I see. So yeah, the purpose of me pinching those queens in those videos, you know, was to propagate these survivors that I have, to make sure that my operation is filled with locally acclimatized bees, so that I have the best chance through winter, just like anybody wants. There's a little queen cup. Nothing to worry about, it's just a cup. I guess I can show you. Right there. It's just a cup, not a cell. I am looking for the queen. Looks like she's doing a darn good job. But I don't see her here. Get this cell protector out of the way. Alright, I saw her big shiny behind immediately. There she is. So, that's good. Let's get her in there. Alright, now, remember I was talking in previous videos recently about, you know, the build-up portion of the year is over and we're not checkering frames in and all that, but this is kind of a case that defies that logic. I have drawn comb and I want them to fill out a 10-frame box in the next month or so. So I am going to checker some of these drawn frames in, and then she, that young queen, will lay those up very quickly as the rest of the bees bring in that goldenrod honey and make those frames heavy, and they'll have a nice looking winter nest before long. So I am going to be probably checkering 2 frames for now. And here's a good food frame with some nectar that I'm going to put on the edge. So this will be on the edge, and then here's a blank but drawn one. 2 brood frames, blank but drawn. And then a brood frame, and then a largely empty frame. And the rest will be blank but drawn. Alright, and then I'm going to put on my fancy inner cover. That will be replaced before the end of the year, before they're wrapped up. But I just don't have any more inner covers right now. So in order to make sure that those frames don't get stuck to the outer cover, I'm going to put that there. And they're good. I'm going to shake the rest of the bees from this nuke. And they're good. I'll put that like that for the next hour or so, but the rest will move in to that 10 frame box, and before I'm done out here I'll come grab that nuke out of the way. So, thanks for watching. Get out there and have some fun with your bees. See ya.